Hey folks, Bill Yaley, Mad Scientist Lab, over here off camera. My old phone died. I filmed all this stuff on an old iPhone, and I finally got one of the iPhones that doesn't allow me to plug one of these things in. So my wireless microphone is not working at the moment. So more background noise for you to enjoy. Now, for a while, I think you guys have seen me use this. This used to have a variac in here, and it could supply a maximum up to 120 volts or 132 volts AC. And so this was an old variac type variable transformer. But the thing's not isolated, and it only had like these ancient Bakelite two prong plugs and such. I rebuilt the variac and put in some extra stuff in here. I'll take it over to the bench and I'll show you what I wound up doing. Alright, so in the rebuild of this, now this used to just be the variable transformer or variac and this three position switch there, off being in the middle, 120 volts, 132 volts. But I wanted to add some other convenient things, namely an isolation transformer. Also wanted to have the ability to plug in a three-pronged plug. Since I wanted this three-prong plug there, I also wanted to have a three-prong supply. So inside here, all this stuff is connected to the lid. So the lid is fairly heavy. And you'll see what I have in right there for the, this is where the three-prong plug comes in. I'm going to lay that down there. So from the old case, I still have three position switch, the on, off, on switch. That is the variable transformer, and if I turn this knob you can see it scrub around there. So that's just one big coil, and based on these lugs over here, it will feed power from, let's see, this guy, and it gets switched between one of these two input tabs, and the other lead goes over to this fellow. So what does that basically do? The output of this thing comes off of this scrub lead and goes out to this fellow. So there's my original wiring as it comes around there, and that goes to the common and hot outputs for this three-prong plug. Now the earth ground, let's see, goes two different places. It goes to the third prong of the 3-pin power input, and it also goes to the metallic part of this isolation transformer. So where does all this stuff come from? Well, the isolation transformer I actually had from a 2-amp build, Triad magnetics. This is just the box. I don't think there's anything else in here. An N68X. So fairly basic thing. It has the ability to have a 230, 240 volt input and 120 volt output. Again, isolated. But I have this thing wired up that it uses both sides of the input in parallel. So it's 120 volts in, goes through the transformer, 120 volts out, and then that goes to the variable transformer, which I adjust the scrub there, and it takes part of the voltage signal from the entire coil, or a little bit less than the entire coil for the 120, and routes that to the 3-prong output. And then, of course, putting everything in a cigar box just makes it that much more cigar box guitar player, savvy. So where did I get this thing from? Well, I have notebook computers and stuff dating back a very long time. So this used to be from, I think, an old Toshiba laptop, and I just needed that. I could have drilled a hole, cut this bit off, and tied it in a knot in there and stuff like that. But I thought, hey, it'd be kind of nice to have a removable cord. So I took that power supply, which was basically this would have plugged into a brick, and I've since thrown away the plastic bits, but yeah, it used to be located right there. You can see some holes there, and where it was soldered in, and my horribly messy desoldering job. But anyway, I got it out of there. I have this nice capacitor and little buck transformer there. So anyway, I'll use this stuff for another project later, but the important thing was I have this nice removable three conductor power cord coming out. So that's it. I mean, I know that's kind of a long-winded excuse. Now I can plug this guy in if it's in the off position there, and let's see, so he's plugged into the wall. It's turned off right now. Let's put it about in the halfway position. Now if I turn it on, you won't see anything now. It's just, providing power to that. Nothing works better than just a plain old incandescent light bulb. So anyway, let's turn this on. That's 120 volt setting, but I'm only in about the 50% mark there, and I can turn this down. That's 20%, 10%, and it's just barely glowing. As I turn that up, it gets all the way up to 120. So there's that. I want to blow the thing up, but I could go ahead and bump it up to 132. You saw it got a little bit brighter there. 120 setting, 132 setting, and just real quick, you can see how bright that is. I don't want to burn the thing out. Put it back on the normal setting, and it's isolated, so I'm not getting any kind of shock or anything. As a matter of fact, that should be connected to that third prong there. So now I've got an isolated variable power supply that I can even overpower a little bit. This will come in handy for building some new tube amp circuits and for playing around with, playing around with some electrical circuits or testing some old equipment that may need a little bit of repair. Alright, be safe. Mad Scientist, checking out.